today to introduce one of our panelists, Commissioner Aaron Demerson. Commissioner Demerson is with he's a commissioner for Texas Workforce Commission, and he is the commissioner that represents employers. Commissioner Demerson currently serves as commissioner representing employers for the Texas Workforce Commission. Governor Greg Abbott appointed him to the 3-member commission on August 20th, 2019. Prior to his appointment, Aaron Demerson served as the director of the Office of Employer Initiatives at the Texas Workforce Commission. In this position, he provides leadership and direction to engage employers, business organizations, and the economic development community in the ongoing development of a customer-focused, market-driven workforce system. Prior to employment at the Texas Workforce Commission, he served as a senior advisor to Governor Rick Perry and executive director of the Economic Development and Tourism Division in the governor's office, leading a team that marketed the state of Texas as a premier destination for both business and travel. Commissioner Demerson has a BBA in finance from Texas A&M University Kingsville. He also received a general banking diploma from the American Institute of Banking and is a 91-92 graduate of Leadership Austin. So welcome to our panel, Commissioner Demerson. And Tamara.
Thank you so much, Paul. Really appreciate the invitation to be part of this esteemed panel. Commissioner Demerson, always a pleasure to share a virtual stage with you. My name is Tamara Atkinson, and I serve as the CEO of Workforce Solutions Capital Area. We are a proud partner with both the Texas Workforce Commission and Workforce Solutions Capital Area, and we are delighted to be a partner with Tesla. We could not be more thrilled about Tesla coming into our region, and Workforce Solutions Capital Area and Rural Capital stand ready to serve as a hub for helping you, Tesla, be able to find and source your local talent. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to our panelist of honor. One of our guest speakers today, Rohan Patel, serves as the Senior Director of Public Policy and Business Development for Tesla. Rohan serves in this capacity at Tesla, where he oversees global regulatory and legislative efforts on electric vehicles, charging infrastructure, solar energy generation, and battery storage. Previously, he served as Senior Advisor for Climate and Energy Policy for President Barack Obama at the White House, where he worked on a range of power sector and transportation policies, in addition to being President Obama's primary liaison with local government officials. Rohan also served as the Associate Director of the White House Council on Environmental Quality and Senior Policy Advisor to Secretary Thomas Vilsack at the United States Department of Agriculture. Prior to his appointment to the Obama administration, he held leadership roles in the Obama presidential campaign, the administration of Iowa Governor Chet Culver, and U.S. Senator Evan Bayh of Indiana. Rohan is a graduate of Northwestern University and a native of Indiana. He currently lives in Washington, D.C. with his wife and 2 daughters. Rohan, we are so delighted to have you join us today.
Happy to join you. I will say on the honorable side, or you said we're honored guests. My daughters are not nearly as excited about me. In fact, I was just getting criticism for my grilled cheese sandwiches. So, but I'm nonetheless happy to be here.
Rohan, so it's a pleasure to have you with us. And Tamara and Paul, I guess it's going to be turned over to me. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. We're going to take it away. Rohan, it's a pleasure meeting you, and thanks so much for taking the time. Before we get started, I wanted to thank both Tamara and Paul for the opportunity. The work that you guys are doing is just pretty phenomenal. I always say that the local level is where the activity happens. Everything happens at the local level. Those are the boots on the ground. In Texas, we can have a good business climate, a lot of good things that are happening here, but if we don't have the local community tied in, then it's all for naught in that regard. And so, Paul, Tamara, thank you guys for everything you do in that regard. Rohan, we're going to have a nice spirited conversation here. It's going to be one, we're welcoming you into the family, and so you and I will go kind of back and forth, talking a little bit, but basically giving our audience an opportunity to really discover Tesla and what you have to offer. And again, we're just so excited to have you here. And so, you know, here in Texas, we are the 9th largest economy, bigger than Russia and Canada. We're the best business climate state, best state to start a business, top state for women entrepreneurs, dominated the decade for economic development, a lot of things along that line. And some people might call that bragging. but here in Texas, we say it ain't bragging if it's true. And so the fact of the matter is that we're very proud of what we do here and excited to have you guys here as well. But when you look at a state as such, and you look at a community like Austin, why did Tesla pick Austin for this new Gigafactory? What was attractive for the Central Texas region, the Austin area, and the state of Texas? Why was Tesla attracted to us?
Well, I can tell you we try to do things really fast at Tesla, but in this case, we were extremely diligent. We had folks from, as you mentioned, Mexico and Canada. We had folks from governors and county commissioners from, I think, virtually every state in the country, providing background on their programs, providing background on their success stories and their history. And we did a really thorough process. My team, in conjunction with a number of other teams at Tesla, especially our technical teams, our construction teams, our engineering teams, and our workforce teams. And I think let me boil it down to two basic points, Commissioner Demerson, but happy to go into a little bit more detail. Okay. Number one, in any of these decisions on site selection, logistics and the basics have to come into play. Basics of energy, the basics of logistics costs to your customers, and the basics of how quickly and how best you can construct a facility. So those basics had to be met in the first instance, and we had that in a number of areas within Texas, and even a number of sites within the local area in the Central Texas region. Then there's the thing that I think, and of course this site meets those. We wouldn't have even had it on the list otherwise. Then there's, I think, one thing, and I'm simplifying this, but one thing that is incredibly important to us is both access to the absolute best talent from an engineering perspective, management of and manufacturing of our products is essential, and the having an access to both the universities, the types of universities that you have in the Central Texas region is a huge factor. The type of talent that you're producing, we're already recruiting. Even before we made a decision to come to Texas, we're already recruiting from the likes of Texas A&M and the likes of the UT Austins of the world. Those are premier institutions in the world. So we're already recruiting there. So that's one. Two is we need a diversity of talent in all sectors of the manufacturing realm. And that you're talking about production associates, technicians, a diverse array of talent. And you also have that in the Central Texas region, which isn't always the case in a lot of the other places that we looked at. So the access to talent at all levels was, I think, a really key separator. And let me just say one other thing, Commissioner Demerson, because you deserve some praise for this, as does the Workforce Solutions team. When I went back to our team, because I was not the one engaging directly with every single entity, every single workforce board, every single, we of course have a wide team. Every time I go back to the team that's dealing with folks, it was just glowing praise for the team at Workforce Solutions. Tamara, obviously you and Paul are running one hell of a show, because the team that I've got was just really excited about some of the work that you've already done, the possibilities that we had to work with you all. And so, I won't ramble on much longer about this, but we really were touched at the excitement level, which we saw from a lot of communities, but the track record of being able to really do this in partnership with industry. So those are the two things I'd bring up, Commissioner. I hope that helps answer it.
No, that answers it very well. We're excited to have you here. You mentioned a talent, you mentioned a number of things. And so in Texas, we say the secret sauce is when you're able to bring together the worlds of workforce, economic development, and education. You bring those together, then the corporation's not going to turn away. And so we've been able to do that very well. And again, at the state level, being able to work with the local level, that's where the rubber meets the road at the local level. And so we're very excited that's happening. And we appreciate your response there. When you talk about the universities that we have here and the community colleges here in Austin Community College with Dr. Rhodes, they're on point and on board and ready to do some things in big ways. I saw some of the quotes that he had and the like, and so the training programs and the like, we're going to get to work and do what we can from that standpoint. But delighted to definitely have you guys here. You mentioned the word Tesla, and ears perk up, eyes perk up, and the innovation and the things that you guys are doing are pretty phenomenal. So we're looking forward to it. I was actually out at the plant yesterday. I got a chance to drive by there just to see the construction going on and everything, and there's nothing like seeing movement like that happening. It's real, folks, and so we're excited about that in a big way. So speaking of that, what are your plans for this first year? You know, we talked about there's a Model Y, there's the Cybertruck. I mean, a lot of talk out there. And again, we're delighted to have you here because you're going to be the person that tells us what's happening. But the first year or so, what are you guys looking at trying to accomplish in that regard?
Well, you got it right on. The Model Y program for the East Coast part of the United States and central part of the United States and for export elsewhere will be critical. And the Cybertruck, that's on a little longer path, but still we're putting a lot of resources into that as well. And I think, especially on the cyber, Model Y is going to, it already, the level of interest, the demand is really cool to see. It's a fun car to drive. I think the Cybertruck, I grew up in Indiana, a rural part of Indiana, and I feel like the folks I grew up with are going to really love this vehicle, the Cybertruck. And so I'm really excited about it for Texas. I'm excited about it from a manufacturing perspective, but there's a lot of work that has to be done. Right now we've got, Commissioner, we've got about 100 openings right now, job openings at the Gigafactory. We're really laser focused on building out those core construction leadership teams and the core production teams. So already we've got that kind of recruiting that's taking place as we see it. The other thing that I think is important for us is your level of ambition in the state of Texas, which we really love. We're kind of, I think, kindred spirits in the way that we think about things. So you were even just mentioning, we're bigger than Russia and Canada. I had never thought about it that way, but that is kind of an amazing thing. But we also, with our workforce programs, we're just growing up. We're just growing up on how we can partner. And we think with your level of ambition in terms of always doing things bigger in the state of Texas, we like that. And in terms of manufacturing development, I'll just give you an example. Since launching in 2017, we've got this manufacturing development program in Nevada and in California. We've got 115 students that have been hired by us into an apprenticeship where you start off as your career at Tesla, but you're continuing your education in automation and robotics. And we'd like to expand that program. And we've had some initial discussions with Tamara. I know my team has. And so that's the kind of thing with an Austin Community College. It seems like, a really good match. We got to get to the specifics and we've got to deliver. But those are the kinds of programs that I expect to see in a big way.
And that's pretty exciting. And you mentioned it here in Texas. We're always thinking bigger, and the plant that's being built here. We're looking at Nevada, a few other places, California. The things that they're doing. But we've always said when we were talking with you guys early on, that's great programs you guys are doing there, but we want to Texas-size it. And so I'm excited to hear about some of the opportunities that you're working with the folks at the the local level as well. Speaking of that, and I'm going to kind of switch a little bit in terms of the job situation. You talked about jobs and the like, and so what kind of type of jobs that are you guys going to have, the skill sets that are necessary in that regard? I know Tamara and Paul on here, and I'm going to give them opportunities to weigh in on how they can make sure that when we get a company coming into, an employer coming into our state, that we're finding the skilled and available workforce that's going to fulfill the needs of that company. And so what are some of the type of jobs that are going to be out there? Sometimes you have a company coming in and folks think, oh, it's probably all engineering. There's not a place for me in that regard. And so let's just hear from you in terms of jobs, and then what are some of the skill sets that are necessary maybe to occupy some of those jobs as well.
Actually, this question goes to the site selection as well. Now, I'm not familiar with every high school, even in the area, let alone every high school that you guys work with. But I am familiar with the Del Valle School District, and I'm familiar with both the work that they've done in partnership with this career development and technical training type of education. And already they've had quite a few students go through those types of programs. One of the reasons why we thought this particular site was really fun and exciting is that the Del Valle School District already has that ethic, already has that thought process, and already has the fundamentals to be able to move students from the ideas of and get excited about engineering and manufacturing and production and working with their hands, working with robots, to real jobs and real curriculum. You know, curriculum development is something that we've really spent a lot of time with teachers directly, with school administrators in the state of Nevada. We expect to be doing that very same thing in Texas, and we've already had those discussions with Del Valle. I assume that will expand out. But in terms of the types of jobs, let me just be very crystal clear here. 60 or 70% of our jobs, and I don't want to get too specific in terms of the exact percentage, but in that range, are production associate jobs. You know, historically, we've said you need a high school degree and you need a work ethic. Frankly, we might not. We say high school degree, but may not even need that. What we need are people that are just willing to work and have some interest in working with this kind of high level of technology. That doesn't mean that you need to have advanced degrees, associate degrees, or anything else. Of course, we'll help our employees get to that level too, and we have ways to gateway that kind of investment in our own employees. But that's not even necessary. So just right off the bat, of course, initially we are hiring for construction engineers, civil engineers, and production engineers, because we've got to design and build. This is not like a cookie cutter type of manufacturing operation. You know, we are literally designing completely new facilities, new programs, new manufacturing techniques. So initially, as we start off, right as we're talking about right now, it is a set of high-level, top production and engineering type folks. As we move towards production, you're moving towards 60, 70% of the hires will be production associates, entry-level type of work.
Good. All right. And so Tamara and Paul, do you guys want to add on anything in regards to the workforce? I mean, you see the type of jobs doing 67% production, assistant, associate type positions. You guys want to add on anything there?
Go ahead, Paul.
Okay, I would just say, you know, that's really our bread and butter here in the Central Texas area. We work with a lot of students either coming out of high school or coming out with a certificate post high school that would bring them right into line with some of the type of jobs you're talking about, Mr. Patel. And I think we're very well situated to continue to do that and expand the work we've been doing in that arena. And we're very excited about the opportunity to do so.
Okay. Tamara.
Yeah, yes, sir. Thank you. I'll just add on to what Paul said. Couldn't agree more. It's our bread and butter, Mr. Patel, and we are so excited to be working with you. I mean, Tesla, you have a long history of providing career pathway programs, both at the secondary and post-secondary level. We are delighted at Workforce Solutions Capital Area that the Del Valle ISD Superintendent, Dr. Telly, is on our board, and I met with her socially distanced, of course, several weeks ago, specifically, sir, to talk about how we could be working together, Workforce Board, with Del Valle ISD to support your talent needs. And so we just couldn't be more excited about the ability to bring this public-private partnership between Tesla, the supply chain, and access to local talent, because at the end of the day, that's what we really want, is that you'll be able to source the talent you need to grow Tesla from within our backyards and within our region.
Yeah, just to give you a sense of how important that is, we did a call, our leadership did a call with Dr. Telly, and Elon was on and just explaining what we plan to do and some of our programs. And honestly, you know, it was so heartfelt that her and her team have their students in mind, and also are trying to work with anybody they possibly can, including industry, to develop programs that work for their students and get people onto the right path. And in this case, in this particular case, maybe, you know, personally for me, we're talking about a lot of students in that part of the Central Texas region that are in need of opportunities. And so I think, you know, in some ways, my dad always used to say, be useful and be kind. I hope that we can be useful in this region, given what we've heard from the teachers and from the leadership at Del Valle. So that was another, you know, maybe I didn't quite articulate that at the beginning. That was another really key part of our decision-making process.
Good, and thanks for sharing that. Tamara and Paul, thanks for weighing in on the workforce side. Ron, yeah, the company's going to make an incredible impact on our community and on our state as well. And so we appreciate the investment in big ways. You mentioned apprenticeship at one point. My fellow commissioner, Julian Alvarez, has a keen interest on the internship aspects, apprenticeship aspects of things. Internship opportunities. Let me ask you this question. So we have here in Texas, a lot of people are flocking to our state, and so you have individuals with, say, experience in the manufacturing side of things. How open are you guys to some of the senior level people that may want to work for an innovative company like this at Tesla? They have a little bit of experience, manufacturing backgrounds, and the like. Are you guys open to any of those opportunities as well?
Oh yeah, without question. And let me think philosophically, I'm not sure I've ever stated it quite like this, but we are certainly looking for top talent, but we're, I think, maybe slightly different than a lot of companies where even if a job description is, let's say, civil engineer, construction engineer, cell engineering, whatever the job description might be, what we're really looking for is a demonstrated history of excellence, whether that's in the computer field or in the agricultural field or in another field. We're looking for a demonstrated history of solving tough, really tough problems, because inevitably, you know, what I think is so cool about Tesla, and what is, you know, I've been at Tesla now for 4 years. And every day I get a chance to talk to our engineers that are creating, designing, and building. But most importantly, where I think it's so important to think about what gives us, we think, our relative advantage is manufacturing. If we have any advantage, I think it's that we care so deeply about manufacturing. And so you see people across the Tesla ecosystem that come from such widely different backgrounds. Of course, we have some from the automotive industry, but we have folks from every walk of life that are integrating into trying to solve really, really tough manufacturing and design and R&D problems. And that's what kind of makes the company so much fun and so interesting.
Good. And so I know you're going to have the Austin Technology Council, the Austin Manufacturers Association. All these guys are going to be pretty, I know they already are pretty excited about those opportunities and the mix of both experience and those. I like the fact that you said they can have a high school degree, but Tesla's already thinking they may not have a high school degree, but we're going to tap into them in some big ways. And so I know there's going to be a whole lot to come out of that aspect as well. Re-entry type programs have been something that Commissioner Alvarez and the team are working on, but finding that talent for Tesla is something that I know Paul and Tamara and their teams at the local level are going to make sure that that company has that. And then on the education front, that's going to be pretty excited because you're talking about some unique partnership opportunities. And so with that, I know there are some of the other states that you may have been in. What's been the economic impact of those states, and how have you seen in your experience, have you seen it like turn around a community or turn around a region or turn around a state? Kind of speak to some of those things.
Well, I honestly am so proud of the impact. You know, sometimes it can be taken for granted, even within Tesla. We're talking about the high desert of Nevada, in a town called Sparks, outside of Sparks, really. Really nothing that was there before. Now we've got, I don't have the latest count, but it's in the 13,000 employee range in the high desert of Nevada. And we've got now just surrounding us suppliers, direct suppliers, of course. We have unrelated businesses, Google and a whole range of other tech companies and other types of companies that have located there. And then, of course, you've got the tertiary jobs of restaurants and food trucks, and those types of stories are so cool. We've got in Nevada, some of the folks on our team said, well, should we go and do like a normal cafeteria style? It might be nice food, but should we figure out a way to bring in local businesses? And so we basically have a system, and I'm not going to get this exactly right, Commissioner, but this is the basics of it, is zero cost lease. We give space to whoever's coming in. Let's say it's Pete's Tacos. And Pete's Tacos sets up over there, and all of a sudden their business is doing, they're opened up to 12,000 people that are eating lunch. Yeah, and you've got the growth of those kinds of, same thing on the grocery side. We have a small grocery company, local grocer, that set up a shop in the Gigafactory, and all of a sudden they've tripled their revenue, tripled the number of people they've got. And so those are the kinds of impacts. I think, I'm happy to get into specific numbers, the billions and billions and billions of dollars. We're the largest today. We are the largest exporter in the state of California, the largest. We're the second. Now all of a sudden, the electric vehicle business. Just a few years ago, people were like, are these things even going to go anywhere? Does anybody even care about them? The electric vehicle business is second only to the casino business in the state of Nevada now. We've got a whole bunch of activity going on there. So that's the kind of impact I think that can have that we can have, and we're really proud of that. We don't necessarily have like a bright and shiny, glossy kind of thing about here's this and here's that, but we're so kind of focused on the work and focused on doing what's right, rather than kind of tooting our own horn. But maybe I'm a bit different than folks. I feel like we should toot our own horn in some of these instances, and I'm extremely proud of the impact we've had. One program, usually when I'm going into a state, Commissioner, I'm meeting with folks like you with suits and ties on, and figuring out whatever issues that we're dealing with. Could be workforce development, could be anything. And instead, what I did was on a trip, my last trip to Las Vegas, I went to a school. It was Cimarron High School, Title I high school. Really not in the best area of town, but we had sponsored. It spent quite a bit of money, but we had sponsored a number of students for their robotics academy. And that team, they won a bunch of awards and things like that. But I looked up, they had this award, big trophy that was, but the letters were Chinese. And so I said, oh, what's this about? Said, actually, we went to China. The robotics team went to China, and we won the entire robotics competition in China. So the level of impact I think that we have an obligation to have in our community is growing as we grow. And now we have some ideas, and as Tamara has gotten us very excited about the workforce end of things, I think we can take those things to the next level, and hopeful of that.
Great, fantastic. And I mentioned it up front, in Texas, it ain't bragging if it's true. And so those things that you guys are doing is pretty phenomenal, and it is not a brag point. Those are facts, and they make a difference. I mean, something I was reading that your CEO had shared about this particular facility. I mean, his ideas and thoughts, he says, birds in the trees, butterflies, fish in the stream, and open to the public. I mean, that says a lot, Tamara and Paul. That's where they're going with this, is that it's going to be phenomenal. And Rohan, that speaks to what you're talking about, making a difference within those businesses that you're allowing to locate there and turning that whole cycle around. And so not only are you impacting the local community with jobs available for that particular area, you're also impacting the local businesses here that have opportunities as well. And so those are phenomenal things for us to look forward to. I like the fact that you're working with Del Valley, the Independent School District, and what they're doing to really try to move the needle. Tamara, it's great that you have the ISD on your board from that standpoint. And Paul, you guys are working in those areas. And I talked about it, education, economic development, and workforce. You bring those together, and we're on our way. And when we do that, we have a very happy employer at the end of the day. And so we're looking forward to that. Rohan, how's Tesla keeping up with the ever-changing world of technology and automation and like you guys are doing it? I had an opportunity to do a master's course, and it was on automation in the workforce. And so we were basically looking at, there was a time when you had to carry a camcorder, your wallet, a number of things. And right now you're able to carry it all on the smartphone that we have here. And so innovation is something that you guys are big with, but how are you keeping up with it, ever-changing, the pace of that? What are you guys doing to keep up with that?
Well, this is a critical question, both in terms of AI and in terms of automation, and they go together. It's both a critical public policy question and also critical for Tesla. The type of automation that we have is stellar, but I think we've also learned lessons along the way that there are some things that humans are just better at, and try as we might to automate them, some of these things are frankly just better done by humans. So, even along the path of getting to scale with some of our vehicles and our energy products, we've also learned some of these lessons, and we're continuing to learn those lessons. The manufacturing scale up is so hard. It's incredibly hard. We will be going through that in Texas, and there's just no doubt, and there's not really a way around it. We will learn those. We have learned some of those lessons in the past, but in order to ramp manufacturing, Elon has said this a number of times, it is maybe the hardest thing to do. It's one thing to build an interesting sort of design vehicle or design energy product, or a bespoke product. It's a whole different thing to build that in a scaled way. And to do that, you have to have really good automation techniques and automation engineers, and a tie-in between those that are designing the product and coming up with the concepts at a sort of lab level or desk level, and then those that are creating the product into a real manufacturing technique. And so I think that's one other thing that Tesla really tries to integrate, which is why engineers love being at Tesla. And last week, I guess one of these publications said that Tesla is the most exciting place for graduating engineers to go to. Part of that is that we don't just have folks in silos. They're sitting right there on the floor figuring out the problems with our manufacturing team. And so that's kind of very, very important for us. So automation is a part of everything in society now, no different at Tesla, but we're really trying to integrate those types of things in a way that learns some of the lessons from the past in terms of what humans can do best.
Not bad at all. I have a son at SMU right now studying business analytics, working on a master's degree. How important is data, analytics and those things with you guys?
Oh man, I wish I could flash up our all of the reams and reams and reams of data that comes in and has to be analyzed, and all the different charts that we've got and who's doing what's happening in what place. It's incredibly important for efficiency, because what's so important for us as a mission is to allow our products to be available to anyone, and to push the envelope in terms of costs so that others in the automotive sector and the energy sector are also reducing costs so that anyone has the opportunity to purchase these vehicles. So to your point, when somebody like your son, he probably has a keen sense of how to make the business and make process and to glean more from what we already have to make more efficient the programs and the possibilities within Tesla. And that goes to our mission. So it's insanely important. Every little piece of data that can be analyzed, and you can have an overload. There's no question about that. So we're really constantly trying to figure out what are the key things to hone in on. And so we have some very, very smart people. Sounds like kind of like your son that are looking at these things all the time. And that's I'm sure that any business that you guys have attracted is doing the same type of thing. It's the only way to stay competitive.
Oh, yeah. So that's on the innovation side, and automation and the like. And so as we wind down on our time here, I want to speak about a couple of things. Basically, the first deals with partnerships and the like. And so I think you've touched on some of those things as well. But I want to give Tamara and Paul an opportunity to talk about any partnership opportunities. But in Texas, we don't mind partnering with public and private sector. We have some of our twos that we utilize that we allow public employers to leverage and the like. And so how important is it for Tesla to be a part of the community? And then Paul and Tamara, if you guys want to talk about the importance of an employer like Tesla being in our region to the community, the partnerships that can come from that standpoint, keeping in mind tying together the worlds of workforce, economic development, in education. The governor's office, governor, when he talked about this, your chairman, your CEO was talking about the freedoms that you have here in Texas. You guys want to do some innovative type things, and so that freedom that exists that allows you to do things like that in our state and in this community. Talk about some of the partnership opportunities around that side.
Well, I can't stress it enough. I think there's no way to do this alone. There's no way to create something like this alone. You have to have those partnerships. And it's obviously something that's incredibly important for Tesla. We want partnerships on the workforce side specific to this conversation, because we need access to the best. We need access to a lot of folks, and we need trained people and we need to have those partnerships in place. There's no way Tesla is going to be opening up community colleges. We need to partner with those community colleges. There's no way Tesla is going to be opening up school systems. We have to partner with those school systems. So there's just no way around that. And it's very good for Tesla. I think we have an obligation to make sure that what we are doing is very good for the community. And that, I think, is where we have a lot to learn from in terms of others that have come before us, others that have done interesting things, and pick up on those things, steal some of those good ideas, and put them into place for us. So I'm really excited about that. I think one thing I'd like to underline, though, Commissioner, is, let me take a step back. Just in our society, I think we have a need, and we have an obligation to our students and young people, and frankly, even those that are looking at mid-career switches, to make engineering, manufacturing, and new technology exciting and cool and fun. We try to make our cars fun. We have my girls, we have a Model 3 now, and my girls just love it. My wife was wondering, why the heck did we buy one in the first place? Now she doesn't even let me drive it. She drives it to work every day. They love it. They have fun with it. But we, I think, have an obligation as a society to make engineering and technology and these types of things fun, exciting, and fun again. And so one of the things that our team, Chris Riley on our team, has done a really good job of is to bring people into the process. We had, before COVID, we had tens of thousands of people that were touring our Gigafactory in Nevada. It wasn't some weird place that, sort of alien ship that nobody could go to. We were inviting schools in every day. We were inviting people in all the time, trying to be a part of that inspiration, whether you work for Tesla or not, inspire people on the science and engineering and math and excitement of that type of work. So I think, as a society, we have a lot to do there. And one of the reasons why we chose Texas and we chose this area was that you felt like that's exactly what people are trying to do. And so, Tamara, I appreciate all the work that you've done with Chris and team to kind of get us aligned and teach us some lessons of what others have done. And that's very helpful.
Thank you for sharing that. Early on, I got a chance to meet with Chris and then Karen Stakely and that entire team. And just when they were talking about the things that were being done in Nevada, for instance, we just couldn't wait to Texasize it. And an announcement had not been made or anything, but I think Governor Abbott sent them over here and said, let's see what's over there. And at the local level, Sharice and the chamber and their team pulling things together in collaboration with the governor's office, and then at the local level, it's worked the way it's supposed to. Paul and Tamara, you guys want to speak about the community partnership aspects of this awesome company that we have employ in our state, in our city?
Well, sure. I think it's very exciting to have somebody like Tesla come to our part of the state, and the excitement that it brings is it just energizes a lot of the activity that's already going on and brings a kind of a next gear for us to engage with to really propel into what is it that Tesla needs. A lot of our educational partners, they're hungry for information about what do employers need, what do they want, what can we do at our level to help prepare that workforce for the people that you need. And bring somebody like Tesla that comes in here, it just creates a different level of excitement and engagement than we've seen before. So we're really looking forward to getting engaged not only with Tesla, but with the secondary suppliers that'll be coming in. They're going to have needs as well. I think this just builds for years down the road, and it bodes well for manufacturing in Central Texas.
Good. Tamara?
Yeah, thank you so much, Commissioner. Rohan, I'm so glad you mentioned Chris Riley. He has just been a delight to work with. And every time we talk, we say, gosh, we could talk for hours and hours. The philosophy that Tesla has, that Chris have, that you have, that Tesla as a company has about working within the community and sourcing your talent from the local community through those education pipelines from secondary to post-secondary is just really key. So a few things I'd love to reiterate, Rohan and I have had the honor of sharing with both you and Chris previously, is Workforce Solutions, whether it's rural capital area, we can really be your hub for connecting those, as the commissioner said, education, economic development, and employment within Tesla and your supply chain. And through that public-private partnership, you can count on us to be ruthlessly accountable for the outcomes that matter to you. So that's what workforce boards do, and that's what we can commit to. Is we'll show you what we do as a result of a public-private partnership and through the work that we do. You know, additionally, we have the ability to bring innovative public funds to the table. So when working with leadership through the Texas Workforce Commission, we can leverage resources to bring supports to the workforce that you want to train and hire, and then other ways that we can be really innovative in meeting Tesla's needs and the supply chain needs. And then last but not least, when you work with a workforce board, you are really able to leverage the strategic plans that our community, our local elected officials, I know in a previous role, you worked with and you understand the role that local government, local elected officials, and local education systems play in the broader employment ecosystem. And so, gosh, we could not be more excited about being able to partner with you, all the companies in the supply chain, all the restaurants, hospitality, all the others that are going to be positively impacted by Tesla, and just count on us to be your hub in your home.
Good. Thank you, Tamara and Paul, and this excitement even in the air. And so, like I said, I had a chance to go by there yesterday, seeing the trucks moving and everything, and it's pretty phenomenal to see that investment, and we appreciate the investment in our state. Chris, one other question. I mean, you have an extensive background, a very impressive background. You've worked in a number of different areas along those lines. And so talk to us a little bit about the project's focus on clean energy. I know you're responsible basically for electric vehicles, infrastructure, stations, regulatory climates, and Texas is proud of itself. We try to create a predictable regulatory climate so that at the end of the day, a company doesn't have to wonder if things are going to be changed in the next 6 months. Our legislative body meets every 2 years, and so things are put in place from that standpoint, which allows a corporation to really predict their future somewhat. But just kind of talk to us about the clean energy aspects of this project.
Well, there's two things that I think are important, and our team certainly understood this beforehand, so it wasn't a surprise, but maybe the general public doesn't quite understand just how significant over the past decade or so the improvement in terms of clean energy in Texas has been. It's wildly successful, in part, I think, exactly along the lines that you just suggested, for regulatory reasons. ERCOT and the PUC and the legislature have put in place some good, solid policies, but also because of the innovative spirit. You got a lot of companies that have come up in Texas on the clean energy front, which makes your grid cleaner, makes it healthier for your residents. The economic impact is major. So you've got a lot of things going for you in terms of clean energy, separate and apart from Tesla. I think we will help bring in an additionality there because, of course, our vehicles are zero emission vehicles. But another thing that we're doing a lot in Texas now is deployment of storage resources. And I think what you're going to see is that this entire ecosystem, one of the positive things, the useful things about Tesla is that we've driven down the cost of all of these items. We've driven down the cost of those batteries. Those same batteries and that same technology can be used directly for grid-based services, ancillary services, frequency regulation, things that are very, very useful to the grid to make it more flexible, more less prone to any kinds of attacks, and less prone to issues in terms of certainty of power. And so I think as we look forward, those are the types of things that we'll be really keenly focused on in terms of the energy side of our business in Texas, and how that plays together with the vehicle side of the business. So Absolutely. And Texas, I think it's the fact that the grid is getting cleaner and cleaner, and virtually all of the energy that is coming online is clean energy. Vast majority of it is clean energy, helps to make our own products cleaner. As we interact with the grid that is cleaner, it makes those vehicles cleaner. So it's like one of those crazy things, right? Where you buy if you bought, let's say, a internal combustion engine vehicle previously, that vehicle is that vehicle. The gas you're putting into it is the gas you're putting into it. It only actually gets worse from a fuel economy perspective going forward. With an electric vehicle, and especially ones that are efficient, it only gets better over time because the grid in the United States, and especially in Texas, is getting better and better and better in terms of renewable energy. So once you buy that vehicle, it actually gets cleaner every day that you have it, rather than the opposite. So that it is something that I think people will really grab a hold of. The other aspect of an electric vehicle, I know this is not necessarily specific to your question, but it's one that I think is core and will be core going forward, is if you have a house or you have access to just a regular old plug, any plug that you plug your computer into, that same plug you can plug your electric vehicle into. So every night, instead of going to the gas station, every night you've got 350 miles of charge. You have a full, quote unquote, full tank every single day. That's another aspect of the clean energy economy that's really important. So, as people move forward, whether you're charging straight from the grid, whether you're charging from your rooftop because you got solar panels on the top, whether you're charging from your battery because you've got a battery in your house, that full ecosystem is what we're looking for, and those are the types of partners we want to work with. And to your point, Texas is certainly a clean energy leader in the world.
Good. All right, thank you for what you're doing in that regard as well. And as we come up on the last 5 minutes, I'm going to allow Paul and Tamara, in whichever order you guys want to go, to make closing comments, and then I'll make some after that, and then we'll turn the floor over to Chris to say goodbye to everyone from that standpoint. And so, Tamara, Paul, whichever one of you guys want to go first, we'll let you go.
Tamara, would you like to go first?
Absolutely. I just want to thank Rural Capital. Paul, thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this panel today. It's always great to work so closely with you. Commissioner, it's always fantastic to see you. And Mr. Patel, wonderful to see you again. And just in closing, could not be more excited about having Tesla in our neighborhood, in our backyard, and look forward to years of a strong, productive partnership. Thank you.
Paul?
Well, thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Demerson. Thank you, Rohan Patel. And Tamara, thank you for joining us today. This has been a great opportunity to get together and talk about what Tesla coming to our area means, and what we can do to build on that excitement and just make this be a great thing for our community. So just want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for our guests that may have joined us and listened into the conversation. We're excited about the future and where this is going to go. Thank you very much.
Good. And Paul and Tamara, thank you guys as always. Brian and Diane, the engineers behind the scene making things happen. We appreciate you guys for doing that. Chris, you guys, Ron, you guys have been here. It's been 100 days, I think, in October. And so somebody had a report 100 plus now that we're in November, 100 days that they've been working. And so we're excited about what's going to come. At the end of the day, for me, it's all about action. We're talking, but we're going to be about action. And what you have here in Texas are partners that make a difference. What I want to make sure, as the commissioner representing employers, that if you have any concerns or any needs or anything along those lines, you let me know from that standpoint, and then we'll be in a position to react. I know Karen had joined us on the call as well, and so I know we have some contacts there that you guys will be in a position to make a difference. If you need anything from that standpoint, to let us know. Your chairman, CEO, at one point had talked about the Nevada plant being shaped like a diamond. Is Texas's plant shaped like a diamond as well?
It's sort of, kind of. It's more of like a box, a rectangular box, but it kind of has more of a diamond quality than just a straight rectangle. So I guess kind of.
So we talked about it being shaped like a diamond in true north, and so that you can line up. That's kind of romantic poetry there, and so we'll get the box and the true north sides of it from the romantic side. But Rohan, thank you so much for the opportunity. One thing that you shared that I'll close out with is something that you shared that your dad had shared, and that's to be kind, to be useful, and to be kind. I think those are some words that we'll take, and I'll kind of resonate those within my mind and heart, what have you. And if we can be useful and we're going to be kind in that regard, we're going to make a difference in this world, actually. And so we appreciate the investment that Tesla's making here in our state, in this community. And Paul and Tamara, thank you guys for the opportunity. It's been a delight to host and an honor to host Rohan in the Tesla team. Down the line, we'll get to some of your stories behind the White House and your working and all those kind of things. And so we'll go from there. But again, thank you so much for the opportunity. I'll turn it over to Rohan for closing comments.
Well, I couldn't be more thrilled to be on the call. My daughter passed me a note saying that I'm supposed to tell Tamara that she likes your unicorn or whatever that is in the background. And I will say that I didn't get a chance to maybe say that the winning argument in terms of the site selection might have been the Texas food that you've got, whether it's the Tex-Mex or the barbecue, the brisket. Man, on all my trips, woo, it was so good, so darn good. So I think we're really excited. We really are excited about the workforce development partnerships. I want to be humble and just make sure that you all know we're going to make some mistakes along the way. And what we want is to make sure that folks like Tamara and Paul and Commissioner Demerson, you give us feedback, honest feedback about how we can do better, what we can do to improve, how we can partner with you all better into the future. We have an obligation to be a good community partner, and we will be that. But we want to be humble about it and learn from others as well. So we will certainly be doing that, and certainly be in touch with you all in the coming days and weeks. And don't hesitate to reach out anytime. And next time I'm in Austin, I promise you I will be getting some of that good Texas barbecue.
And Tamara and Paul, what I'll do after Rohan participates in that, we'll get him down to Town Lake, the trails as well, whatever. Get a little running as well. So get that going. Take care of those two girls. I have two boys and the like, and so have fun with them. And again, thank you for the time and the opportunity. Tamara and Paul, as always, great, outstanding work and the like. And so it's right at 2:29. We're going to give you a minute back of your time at 2:30, and we'll go from there. You guys be blessed. All right, bye-bye.